All right, folks, welcome on back here this Wednesday, top of the month, everybody. This June 1st. Great to see Kurt and Brian and Henry and Felix, Wendy, Chris, and all of us live inside the Cyber Group room. Great to see all of us once again on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube. You could tell this is not the voice of one Fausto Pugliese. I like to say my name is Josh Levitin, if you're not familiar with the afternoon meetings. But nonetheless, I'm tagging in for him this morning and be tagging in for him tomorrow morning as well before I actually go on a small little vacation, actually taking Thursday and Friday off, to finish up the week myself. Going down to Florida, checking out a couple of apartments, making the move. Not I think we're absolutely moving to Florida actually in the next couple of months. So I look forward to that. Enough about me though. Let's hop right to it here. At least the TNXP stock on the screen to begin. It's up near 43% right now. Just tried to break a new high before. It did, but ended up just kind of slumping back down momentarily, making temporary lower highs over the 1 minute chart there the last 5 or 6 minutes. But it still looks really strong in relation to its trend, right? I mean, I labeled this as a short squeeze stock earlier this morning, and we ended up looking for support earlier before this meeting started. Now I want to just put this here, and I'll tell you what, if a student makes an excellent call out, similar or Fausto does, I would do the same thing to them. But this morning, it just goes to show why it pays to read the chat board, it pays to follow the call outs. Really, we're not just gonna call something out for nothing, right? For all of us on Facebook Live and YouTube, actually, let me just copy and paste the same comment I made for all of them inside the live trading room that we have. So, I ended up making a comment at 8:40 Eastern time. I had simply said, looking for 330 to hold as support on the TNXP. All right. Now, really quick for Brian and Gene, Charles, Michael, I'm going to make you folks do this for me early here. It's going to be one time only today for me. That's all. So let me ask, if I'm going to look to buy a stock, I'm going to jump into this TNXP trade. My best entries to buy a stock are directly after what? Nina says a big move. Well, that's when we see a stock break through a big level, Nina. That's another one of my famous catchphrases there. Uh, when it breaks through a big level on the way up, that's my best entries to buy a stock. So with that, you hope to see this 330 level get broken, which it exactly did. This broke under and over. And then from there, I mean, a couple shakes, a couple of points of concern here where it came back down. I wasn't expecting that to begin, but ended up doing its job. And from there, off and running she went. Is anyone in on this trade right now? I don't want to distract anyone if they are, but just out of curiosity, if anyone's still in this trade, I know Mark picked up like 18 cents this morning in pre-market. Kathleen in, very nice. Grant in, very nice as well. Grant, I cooked up your backstrap, by the way, finally. Took about like a year and a half. The venison backstrap, finally, man. I got it for lunch this afternoon. Whew, it's going to be nice. Well, Grant and Kathleen in on the TNXP trade right now, pushing on up. So, yeah, for right now, easily enough, we're going to put this on the main watch list. Hey, covering for Fausto this morning, I had to push out the pre-market watch list early by like 7:45 Eastern time. And, I'm not going to put too many stocks on the list to begin. I try not to. Well, I only put 3 on there. It was VTVT. It was the TNXP. And then another one, MULN from yesterday, which we'll get to. But, the top 2 on the gainers list were really just, 2/3 of what we had on the pre-market list ourselves. So it just made it a lot easier for us to just pin down on this TNXP and focus on it here off this 330. But for right now, though, let's just go right from top to bottom. We'll see what else is moving or what was moving from earlier. VTVT here up 77+% right now. At this point, it kind of looks like a buyout to me. Like, looks so flat. I doubt it, but I didn't check news this morning. So let me just do that really quick. I'm sure it's like some sort of phase 3 pharmaceutical news or whatnot. All right, let's see here. Oh, crap, I might be right. VTVT shares trading higher after the company announced entry into agreements that include a $25 million investment by G42 Investments. So it's not a technical, legitimate buyout. But with that, though, it looks like some sort of buyout agreement of some sort. So, it ended up popping early, and then it was moving on up going into the 8 o'clock move there, bounced from like 7:30 Eastern time, pushing on up over $1. So at that point, we put it on our list. but I didn't check the news at the time. Nonetheless, right now, it doesn't really look too tempting, does it? So, I'll put this on the side. I'll come back to this at the end if I need to. But just because it's up big and just because it's trading a lot of volume and it's cheap doesn't mean it's going to make for a great trade for us here after the market opens. So, you hope for it to be, but based off the news, I don't really know. TNXP already, we talked about this one, of course. This one is already on our list. Probably be at the top by the end of it all. And we keep going. Now, MTP, this one was a cheapie in pre-market. I'd called this out prior to the meeting beginning. Like it was beginning to, bounce back up here. It seemed like I was just really kind of fishing, like scraping the bottom of the barrel really at that point because, hey, TNXP, we did pretty well on off the 330 and MULN could be in play here too. But otherwise, it was slow. We had to keep, scanning the market, looking for stocks to trade out there. And with that, I thought that this could have held support and, ran back up, but obviously slumped back down. Volume like kind of died back down there. So, we'll pass. Endo, another cheapie. I don't really like the cheapies as much, but, ENDP is one that we're pretty familiar with over the years. Now, I mean, the stock got smashed back in May, but just up and down over the last years, 5 or so years we've been following this pharmaceutical with Teva and MULN back in the day, MYL, if you folks recall that one. But, Endo right now, this thing's not really doing much of anything. So, if it moves up after the open, maybe I'd be interested in calling it out. But for right now, I'll pass. All right, and we're going to do a little bit more of this, folks, because there's not a whole lot out there on the gainer side, really. I mean, geez, like, look at it here. VIEW, I didn't put this on the list, but you could see why, right? CRM, Salesforce. So this one's pushing on up really nicely. Dropped off from like 300 plus all the way down to 150 nearly. So, just about a 50% haircut over the last 6 months. You'd like to think in good conditions or off of news, if you happen to see some big short covering for this to make a pretty interesting short squeeze. So, it's expensive, obviously, but it's up over 10%, pushing up nicely. If you're gonna do any calls on this, that could be one thing. Otherwise, if you're not as interested in trading the expensive stocks, then listen, don't put this on your personal watch list. Then, if you're not really interested in trading an expensive stock, don't let it be a distraction to you. Then, right? I'm sure you'd rather be much more inclined to follow TNXP. So, just do that, your own. But for right now, at least, I'll put a little bit more spotlight on this as a potential short squeeze here into the open. All right, so the MULN stock from yesterday, let's actually go back to yesterday's chart because one of our students, Norman, had a question on it. So we ended up seeing MULN yesterday. We're familiar with this stock, ended up making a really nice pump into the market open, and then it, continued shortly after, consolidated at first, once the market opened up, then from there it took off. So made a really nice move. Now, throughout the late morning, early afternoon, this was pushing on up to 150, and it broke above it, came back down under it. At that point, Norman, and this goes for all of us here, just to say that in terms of your preparation of following any stock going into the open, if you were looking at this trade in pre-market up, 7-8%, thinking, all right, well, I'm sure that we're going to look to follow this once the market opens. Maybe I get my hands on it, jump in a trade. All right, we'll go back to yesterday's chart if it's relevant. So, I went back on Bookmap and we ended up seeing like a big 150,000 share buy print filled at $1.52. All right. So why do I bring that up? Because I called that out prior to this moving up to 150 here. It was when it was at like 147, 148, I'd made mention of that level. So at that point, well, it ended up popping above 152, but came right back down under it. False breakout. That resistance initially held. But the more buying you happen to see off that price, you could definitely anticipate a much better move. So, definitely we'll put this on the list. Just 152 is a, clear top level here at this point. All right, I got Ricardo inside our live trading room calling out the AMC stock, which we'll get to. AMC will definitely get to here. I didn't put it on the pre-market list, but just very active from the last couple of trading days here. So, we'll definitely get to that here at the end. Let's hop on over to the loser side here. We're kind of dipping around 5% category. ENOB. I don't know what happened here. It's hard to borrow on my platform. But down big, 63,000 shares traded on the morning. The reason I'm not interested in this stock is not because I can't short it, but it's just to say that it's just a spotty chart here for right now. I wish it was trading more volume. So right now, I'll pass on this in particular. The CNCE trade, this one's trading more volume, so I got my wish there. It's similar price, $5 stock, down relatively similar, 18, 19%. I'd rather focus on this if we're looking at the losers list here, out of those two. So, if you have shares to short on CNCE, that would definitely be a great play to follow. It's hard to borrow on my platform, but hey, for you folks here, I'll put it on the list. Looks like a bunch of covering nonetheless here off of like 520 in particular. Bunch of prints and then a couple of big guys here, 18K, 15K. All right. Let's see what else we have here in the meantime. Here we have apps. This one is easy to borrow, at least for myself. A lot more active of a chart, trading almost triple the volume here as the CNCE trade. So needless to be said, apps will definitely put this on our list, kind of near the top, alongside the TNXP, the MULN. I don't have Bookmap. I don't have level 4 up for this stock, folks. I do apologize. So I don't have my levels drawn out for this trade just yet. But if I were to tape read the old-fashioned way, it looks like there's not just a lot of volume filled at 21, at the whole number, but actually at like a 2105. A lot of selling coming in off of 2105 there. So, keep that in mind as like a complementary level, perhaps. All right, keep it going, folks. And with that, I mean, not to sound lazy, I'm not. Just dipping under 5% category here. We are pretty much finished up on the loser side. Folks, if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you'd want me to look at, just type it in the chat board. Just let me know. Henry says GME has earnings today, which would take me to Ricardo's GameStop, right? Or Ricardo's AMC. So, it ended up making a big drop off early this morning. This is actually hard to borrow on my platform today, whereas yesterday it was easy to borrow, and we smashed this as a short. It was a really good trade early on. We thought there was a chance it would continue as a runner, going up, but you got to flip the script when you need to. And with that, we ended up capitalizing on this AMC trade more as a short throughout the morning yesterday. But it looks like I have to request the shares. It seems like here. I didn't realize that until now. Needless to be said, though, AMC very active, very volatile in a good way. So if GameStop has earnings out today, I don't mind slipping AMC on the main list for right now. It's not up or down really much, but very tradable, right? We know it will be either way. Now, you could say that on a bunch of different stocks, but if there's anything looking as sharp as AMC, I'd be interested in trading it. The SIGA trade, not exactly looking as sharp. It's a sideless stock here, just kind of, there. It's going to move after the open. It'll make some sort of move up or down. I don't have my lines drawn out for this one either. At least this one is at least this one is shortable still for me. So, maybe I'll get my hands on this at some point. My Neo, this thing was a chop fest yesterday, and it's still chopping around right now. So I'm really not too particular about my Neo, right? So, out of those sideless stocks, at least I like the AMC the most. Now I get a few different chats here now from Dustin on YouTube. Welcome aboard, Dustin, and Michael, or I should say Norman and Amy, saying the HSDT stock. Bingo. There we go. Nice pop here after 9 o'clock. Finally, we get a decent, move here, runner, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, HSDT, definitely great call. We'll put this on the main list. Feels like this stock could also be a great short squeeze. Just looking at the daily chart back from really the end of last year, broke down below big support above 10, probably around like 11, 50, 12. That could be just shooting from the hip. But ended up dropping all the way down. Even from there, dropped down like 90%. So, at what point does this begin to squeeze? I mean, I'm sure news came out to generate this pump, but there could be a lot more left to this year coming up. Look for a pullback first and support to build, and then from there, see if it could run higher. But yeah, really good call here from everyone on YouTube and the live trading room. Mike says VSCO pop on earnings. I don't know if that's a pop. I don't know if that's a pop. Maybe after hours. After hours pop. It's grinding on up in pre-market here. Not a whole lot to it here so far. I'd rather put my focus on the others. There's a bunch that's moving off of earnings, but if you put focus on these, then you don't put focus on the ones that you should be or the ones that you would have an easier time trading. And with that, you're not going to make as much money. So that's where I say just we need to be very particular with, what to put on the watch list, what to kind of put on the back burner. You even heard it from me, my lovely Neo. I love my Neo stock and I'm putting it on the side list. It's choppy. It's not really moving that great here so far. So, you got to pick and choose. All right, folks, that about wraps it up for all of us on Facebook Live and YouTube. I appreciate you sticking with me throughout the morning here today. I'll be tagging in for Fausto once again tomorrow morning. But if you have any questions, feel more than free to send on over an email. I always like to post my email here at the end of these streams, josh@ctutrading.com. Otherwise, if you wanted to join us inside our live trading room, whether it be today, tomorrow, or next week at any point, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below right there on the stream to get yourself started. But for Norman, Michael, Amy, Henry, Robert, and the 92 of us otherwise live there right now, I look forward to talking to you folks in just about 14 or so minutes. Got to refill up the water bottle here. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.